Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm doing an unboxing and rambling of Tamashii Chronicle of Ascend. This is from Awakened Realms, and full disclaimer, of course, that I do work for GameFound. GameFound does have shared ownership with Awakened Realms. Of course, there's no real... I guess there's always opinions. I was going to say there's no real opinions in this video, but there's always opinions in my video, so disclaimer and take it into account as we go through this. But this is an unboxing and rambling, and speaking of disclaimers, this video is actually not sponsored by Awakened Realms or by GameFound, but it is sponsored by OneSharpJoe. OneSharpJoe generally sponsors the unboxings on this channel. OneSharpJoe has a lot of things. OneSharpJoe Crafts, I'll have a link down below, as well as a coupon code. You can use that to go ahead and get something else extra off your order. And they have a variety of things, from token holders. They have new Lorcana tokens. They have Lorcana tokens and life trackers and Lorcana deck boxes, or not really deck boxes so much as giant collection boxes with a Lorcana emblazoned. Did I say emblazoned? Emblazoned onto the top, as well as a variety of other boxes for Marvel Champions, for Marvel United, for any number of different games, Dominion, a variety of things. You may have seen them on the channel before, but OneSharpJoe Crafts does a lot of deluxified components, component holders, and all those things, and I'll have a link to them down below. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into Tamashii, a game that I haven't played in so long that I barely remember stuff. I remember stuff at a lower level, but I am very excited for this one. Oh, and of course, coffee shot as usual. That's the real highlight of the show over here, and I'm knocking that off over there. This knife over here, this is a cool knife that I've gotten recently. I showed it in like one other unboxing. The problem is I haven't figured out exactly. If you know the way you're supposed to open this, let me know, because usually I'm used to like a little swivel thing over here, which is great. This swivel thing over here means I could pull it out that way, but the pressure's a little off over there, and so I find that I'm trying to like go like this a lot over here, trying to hold it like that. Maybe there's a different way. Am I doing it wrong? I don't know. I mean, I could do it like that over here. So if you're holding it like this, you can go ahead and just do like that. But then it's another step away from actually opening it. But it's a cool knife. I like the design of it. And I find myself non-stop playing with it over here. Just like a little swivel shut and then a little swivel open and just clicking away back and forth because I do that now. Tamashii. Let's go and dive into Tamashii and see what we have over here as far as this box goes. I probably should sharpen this knife as well. I find parts of it are sharp, but the tip over here, not so sharp over there. But as long as I'm using it to get through plastic and nothing else, it doesn't matter that much. And of course, coffee. Let's put that off to the side. Let's try to bring that onto camera a bit so you can just see and remember that I have coffee present. I'll be drinking that throughout the show. Throughout this unboxing over here. This is unboxing and rambling. If you're new to the channel, this means I'm going to be talking about the game to some extent. I'll be talking about whatever comes to mind to some extent. I'll be talking about my experience with Tamashii because I have played this game way back during the prototype phase. I played Tamashii, and I believe a lot of things have changed since then. First of all, the box is an interesting design in terms of this covered lid, but there have been lots of changes from anything from the art to the gameplay, which tends to happen with crowdfunding, but I think Tamashii in particular had a lot of changes. I don't know all the changes. I haven't tracked them all. I know that I've tracked it enough to know that there are a bunch of changes to go through. We'll deal with the rulebook shortly, although first I have to make this box stop falling over, so there we go. Now it's standing. Back to over here, we already got our tokens, our standees, for those who want those. I believe there's miniatures in here. There should be miniatures in here. I think there's miniatures. Yep, there's definitely miniatures in here. That's a dead giveaway. We have the Lost Pages rulebook over here, which is a separate rulebook for the Lost Pages. What is this? The Lost Pages is a campaign playthrough. Scenarios this expansion may be played in any order. There's no linear stages over here, so some sort of campaign playthrough aspect. Tamashii over here is going to be a scenario-driven game, or at least it was when I last played it. We have 11 scenario sheets, and you're going to be going through a bunch of scenarios over here. So now, Tamashii is a scenario-based game, so I definitely have my words right, if nothing else, at least right now. Our scenario setup. And this is an Awakened Realms title, obviously. Awakened Realms Light, although I don't know if Awakened Realms Light exists anymore. I think it's been folded into Awakened Realms to a degree. But as an Awakened Realms game, I both know that it's likely going to be very good, and that it's also may or may not have rulebook issues. May or may not. What's the last Awakened Realms rulebook I've read? I don't know, actually. I don't know what the most recent retail Awakened Realms rulebook I've read is. The Great Wall was definitely there. Isis Vanguard I haven't gone through yet. I need to go through Isis Vanguard, but I haven't. So I don't know the last one I've read. I don't know if they've improved yet or not. I do know that Tamashii had a decent enough rulebook from even the prototype phase. It has a decent amount going on, but it's not overly complicated. You're dealing with a little bit of a resource manipulation puzzle over here on your personal side grids. You're going to be drawing tokens from a bag, putting them onto these grids to trigger certain things, and then past that you're taking actions moving around the grid to engage with various areas on the grid. It was fairly linear. A lot of it was about getting cards. Cards would give you more ways to manipulate the tokens you drew from the bag, and then dealing with a variety of enemies and trying to make sure that you can lose them, because everything was a little abstracted in the way the enemies would trap you. So you can see over here the whole grid phase and the pulling tokens and the manipulation stuff. So there's going to be a lot to go through. You have a full combat example of dealing with the enemies, and scenarios over here, scenario sheets, and then from there we have the boss sheets over here, other game modes, there's solo, there's a scenario for competitive, there's cooperative scenarios, there's a lot going on. art looks great so far. Again, this is one of those things, because I know they had a whole thing about changing the art at one point. We have some Punchboard stuff we'll show you over here. So we have some of the tiles. So you can see these are the tiles over here. So you can get a sense of what the castle looks like. The reverse of the castle is just nothing over there. And we've got those, and we've got the various tokens over here as well. So you can track some of these various, Punchboard sheets. But Tamashii in particular had, at one point, I don't remember exactly when, let's move some of the stuff out of the way over here. At one point, I know they had a bit of a drama around the art style change to the game. And some people were very unhappy with it, and some people were very happy with it. And it's one of those tricky things in life. You can't ask people opinions and not inherently make some people unhappy. If I sit to you right now and say, I'm not gonna do it. I was gonna ask a question about the channel. I don't want to do it because it'll get me in hot water. But the point is, if you ask an opinionated question about, would you like me to do X or Y? By doing so, especially if let's say, again, let's use Smash, this is an example. If you're like, here's the art style. By the way, should we change the art style to this or not? Inherently, you're in trouble no matter what you do, because you already had a degree of buy-in to what was happening, but now you've asked an opinion, and now you're fracturing your audience, and inherently you're going to make some people unhappy. A frequent example is when a publisher says, hey, unfortunately, we were trying to get you the games in time. We weren't able. I know we said we'd have it to you before Gen Con, but we just can't. Do you let us sell our games at Gen Con? When a publisher asks that question, many people in the comments will be like, yeah, totally, do you? And some people will be like, no, we want our games first, and so don't do it. By asking the question, you're inherently going to have to ignore some people who sit there and say they're not okay with it. And so, asking large groups of people things is hard. I've been trying to schedule an Airbnb with 7 people for the past 2 days, and the amount of time it's taken to get a general consensus, that's 7 people. Forget a whole crowd of people. Anyway, we have all of these over here, the various tokens, the data transmitter, the server farm, the battlefield, the hidden tavern. It is nice to see this in a more final form. The last time I played this was very much prototype phase, very, very much. Definitely had questions on rules, questions on interactions. This already looks much, much better. Even just like the tokens, the production, everything looks very, very cool. And Tamashii was an issue one. Tamashii felt, how to describe Tamashii? Tamashii was one, I can't remember exactly what I gave it. I think I didn't rate it. If I recall correctly, I didn't rate it. But I remember someone asked me, shortly after the video, someone asked me directly, like, well, what would I rate it? And I said, I can't give you a confirmed answer, but my instinct is that it trends to a 4. My instinct. But it's not there yet. It was a 3.5 based on what I played, but I think it's likely going to be a 4 when I actually properly dive into and play it. But I need to actually experience it in a non-prototype form. I'm excited about the miniatures, even just looking at this over here. And then so even just this over here, already excited about what it looks like. This over here, I can't remember if they had Sundrop or not. I imagine they had Sundrop. But this over here is the non-Sundrop version of things. Let's go ahead and show you some miniatures. Do we want to show you other things first? Let's see, we can ignore this over here. We have that, and we have that. Let's go ahead and see. Alright, so let's go ahead and show you over here. Before starting your first game, make sure you complete the unboxing guide on the other side of the sheet. So I'm not going to mess things up over here, but basically there's an unboxing guide. Okay, that gives you a bit of a guide, a how-to, which honestly is useful. I can't speak for everything, but I can tell you that having played Either Fields definitely had a need for an unboxing guide, which was handily provided by people who are not Awakened Realms. It was provided by fans on Board Game Geek. There were threads of how to deal with the unboxing and card sorting in Either Fields. The fact that they're doing it over here is good. It's a step in the right direction. I approve. And I make no mistake, I love Awakened Realms games, but I acknowledge the complaints that have sometimes been present about certain aspects that aren't... I'm sorry, I'm trying to like peel off this piece of tape here. This goes way too far in there. Anyways, yeah, I acknowledge certain issues with the rule books, with ease of accessibility, things like that. But past that, their production, their way they split up, often split up extra miniatures you don't need versus, what you do need for the game. Over here we go. Here's going to be some of the miniatures. We're going to start going through these. Let's go ahead and take a look. So, we got this guy over here with their little plastic shield in the front, which I generally like that new design. I've really appreciated when companies like Awakened Realms, like Come On, have experimented with different new approaches. These are cool miniatures. I'd love to see these sun-dropped over here, though. These could look amazing sun-dropped. As it is, they look very, very cool, very solid. Look at these guys. Look at that. There's a little drone situation you're navigating around. Let's go ahead and try to figure out an organized way to show you as much as possible here, because these are very, very cool. So, we got this guy over here shooting his little weapon. Then we have that, which I assume is a wheelchair. It looks like it definitely, it kind of looks like his body is like crafted or grafted to that, so probably. Then we have over here, these are creative miniatures. They are very creative miniatures. Look at this hoverbird over here. Look at the way you have kind of a hoverbird with the flame pushing off on one side. At least I assume that's what it is. It seems like it's a hoverbird kind of buried into the ground. And then we just have this guy over here, less creative perhaps, but I do like that blade, although I am confused about the usability of that blade. Sometimes a basic sword just works, and you don't need to get too fancy. Sometimes, you know, it's like I remember reading all the various explanations for Kylo Ren's lightsaber. You know Kylo Ren's lightsaber, like the two hilts effectively. Why does his lightsaber have hilts? And it's not really a hilt, it's more about trying to contain the energy of the crystal. They came up with a whole convoluted technical reason as to why his sword has a hilt. Do you know why his sword has a hilt? Because someone said there, you know what? Lightsabers are cool, but what if we gave it a hilt? That's the convoluted tech reason, which I feel like just own that. Just own the fact that the lightsaber has a hilt. I thought it looked cool. You know, whatever it is. Not some, like, weird containing the energy thing. Sometimes in life you're trying too hard. And so, don't try too hard. Try just hard enough. Okay, you got this guy over here. Convoluted reasons are fascinating. I mean, there's a literary device. What's a literary device? Is it a Deus Ex? Is that what it is? What's like that concept when something exists so that the plot can happen? When you only have a thing that in any way existed so that the plot could be forwarded. Why did that happen? Because it needed to happen for the story to happen. Does it make sense that it happened? No, it's Deus Ex Machina. Isn't it Deus Ex Machina? Isn't that what it is? I think that's what it is. And sometimes it's more obvious, sometimes it's not. One thing I've become more attuned to in general, probably because of CinemaSins, I assume because of CinemaSins, is the idea of having unnecessary expedition in a game. That's something I've become more conscious of when you have a moment of expedition that's there, not because it makes sense in the movie, but because it had to be there for the viewer. A particular scene that, one of the ones that drives me the most obvious to me, so to a certain extent, even though I actually enjoy the scene, is if you watch Spider-Man. I don't want to ruin it for you, so I'll say Spider-Man, the second Spider-Man movie. Is it No Way Home? I think it's No Way Home. Or is it Homecoming? No Way Back? I don't remember. The second Spider-Man movie with, I'm blanking on his name, Tom Holland. Second Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland, whichever one that's named. At one point, midway through, there's a plot reveal about things, and then there's like 3.5 minutes of exposition where the characters are talking to each other and being like, and this happened and that happened, and it's only there for the viewer. It's not there for the show, obviously, but that concept of expedition, of just exposition, just having things in play that have to happen not for the sake of the thing itself, but for the sake of having an explanation and an answer unto the thing. Hopefully, you get what I'm saying. I lost track of my words, but you get what I'm saying. But I like these miniatures. They're very different. I like the cloak over here. Like, look at the patterns on that cloak. Again, these Sundrop would be very, very cool. And I'll have to dive into this one. This is one of those games where, like, it's interesting, because, like, I remember, like, Tainted Grail is a good example of a game that I had a non-Sundrop version of Tainted Grail, and I was sad about that. I wanted a Sundrop version of Tainted Grail. But ultimately, I ended up getting rid of Tainted Grail because I want to play the new Tainted Grail instead. So I was like, I'll play Kings of Ruin, where they cleaned up some of the grind issues. Sometimes there's always a need to chase all the newest things and the funnest things, and you'll never really engage with all the stuff, which is where you have to kind of know what's your limitation. And Tamashii in particular is a game that, unless it blows me away much more than it did when I played it last, to me this is not a forever game. Instinctively. Again, things could change. I only play the prototype, lots of room for opportunity, but this is one where I feel I'm going to play through the scenarios, enjoy it, and then move on from it. I play a lot of games and I cannot afford to keep the, not just space-wise, not money-wise, just space-wise. I mean, I can't afford money-wise either. But space-wise, money-wise, rules-wise, mental headspace-wise, I can't keep every single game I play. And so I like how it's kind of hidden behind. I like how that, like, you don't even realize that she's high. Like, see, like, messing with, like, coding and programming? Yeah, very cool. And then over here, this one. But you can't keep everything. You have to make choices either about what you get in the first place, which is obviously present, but also what you actually hold on to and what you think is worth being in your collection for a long time. There's so many great games out there, and every single day I'm exposed to so many great experiences. I just played Vindication this past week, and Vindication, I mean, that's a game that every time I play Vindication, and you've seen me do this on the channel here and there, where what I'll do is I'll play a game I really love, and I know how much I love it, and I've played it before. It's DEI, it's Expeditions, it's Too Many Bones, it's Cthulhu Death May Die, it's Vindication, Rurik, and I'll play these games and I'll be like, wow, that was such a good time. I need to get rid of my other games. I need to get rid of my other games. Blood Rage actually kind of reminds me, like, Blood Rage definitely has gone down for me. It may not even be top 10 for me. Because I played Vindication this past week and I was like, dear Lord, I don't know why I'm spending my time in other games. I played Revive this past week, and that's new, so Revive is new, Vindication is not. I mean, I played Revive and I was like, I just want to play this again and again. And I played Blood Rage and I was like, it's a good time. It's a good time. I like Blood Rage. Now, I have played Blood Rage 30 plus times, if not more, I don't know. I played Blood Rage well before I started logging play, so my logs don't even really tell me exactly where I'm up to. But that does mean that that sense of just sheer sheer obsession with the thing that you're playing, that's where your energy should go to the most. I do believe in experimentation. I do believe in trying new things and exploring and finding new games. I mean, again, DEI and Expeditions are two games that are new to me this year. Although playing Vindication definitely affirmed for me that I still prefer Vindication over Expeditions. That's clear to me now. But those are both two new games to me that are from this year, and that you only find those new gems if you keep exploring. Which is why I'm always a big fan of exploring, to see what's out there, to see what new things you can find that will be a fit for you, for your collection, for your personal taste. Everyone's going to have a game that is the best game ever to them, and to someone else is going to be a tolerable game at best. Why do we have doubles here? I'm curious why we have doubles here. Now, I do remember in this game, in Tamashii, there was the concept of like kind of grafting yourself onto hosts. I don't remember how that manifested as far as miniatures went, but there's a concept you kind of just grafted yourself onto different host bodies, so you could have different like stats or characters, or I don't remember exactly how it played out. We have another double over here, and that's going to be our miniatures. And that's all our miniatures that we have. We got a little. Did I just cut myself? Hopefully not. We'll find out later. Anyways, that's going to be what we have there. Then we have some more stuff. So we have a Neurona over here. We have on this side Neurona setup. We have the Ascend Sentinel, the Extortionist. I think these are bosses. Yeah, these are bosses. I remember playing against this one. I think it was this one. I'm pretty sure we played against Shinigami. I think. I could be mistaken, but that's the one that looks familiar to me from when we played. So I think we played against this guy, which, I mean, the bosses were fun. That was a tactical challenge. These boards have iterated a lot since we touched them last. These are very different looking over here. You have the cards that are going to go here. So you have a starter walker body, but you're going to like level those up. But these are very, very cool. Again, like we had last time is so different. The way they track these, it has the same core concepts. It has this over here. It has the tracking cube over here for the enemy tracing. It has the asset. I don't remember if the assets. The asset tracks, I don't remember if that was done that way or not. And same with the life pool. I don't think that was done that way. I'm just going by memory over here. So you can check out the footage. I have a Tamashii first impressions. You can check out the channel. And they also have a gameplay over on Crackle, if I recall correctly. But yeah, as we have over here, we have these things. And then we're going to go ahead and see what else we have next. We're going to go ahead. We got these scenario guides, the depths of the ascend. I don't want to open this. I'm going to leave this as is. We have more prototype stuff. Oh no, what's this? This is going to be prologue stuff. Oh, these are scenario sheets. So these are the various scenario sheets that you'll have. So let's take a look and see what we got. I don't want to mess with things. Let's look at the prologue. So the way this works over here, and again, I played through, I think, 3 scenarios if I recall correctly. We're going to have our prologue over here, difficult to easy, time short. It's going to show you the setup over here, and if I recall correctly, it's going to have different decks of cards. It's going to have you getting decks of cards, the special rules in play, the cycle of that. So overall, this is different than the way they had it last time. Last time they had it just on cards. Now they have like leaflets, plus I assume they have cards. We have these over here, which are, I guess, dumb tiles for putting your various extras on them, on your boards over here. So you're going to have those off to the side. In fact, I'll put this back here. And then we have this over here for scenario card and the corrupted data pool and the time track for your scenario. Now let's see what else we got. I'm going to pull this off and see where we are. This can probably go back in there. So let's go ahead and take this, put this back on top. These can go in here, and then this can go over here on top of that. And there we go. That's our scenario stuff. I am excited to dive into it. I'm curious how well it does solo. The amount of things I'm backlogged on, though, is a lot. I have Resident Evil that just showed up. I want to play that. I have more stuff. What was the other things that... There was something else recently. I have... This is down here. I have Arcase I want to play. I want to play Arcase. I have Dragon Eclipse I want to play. There's so many games. Dragon Eclipse I think I need to play soon. That is one that's going up, actually, shortly. So, we have these over here. So, we got these. Like these bags. These are very nice bags. These are very nice bags. Whoa, I like these bags. If I get rid of the game, can I keep the bags? Because these, they have a good hand size. Like you can see the hand goes in there. Like you can like really just box somebody with these, which is a good. You want to be able to fit your hand into a bag, but they're also not too bulky and they feel nice. I mean, I know this is like a weird look on camera, but I mean, this could be the thumbnail, except I probably already did the thumbnail earlier. But surprise, look, ma, no hands. These are nice bags. I like them. Past that, we have some cards. We have our silica gel. We also have a random miniature, and we also have some extras too, by the way. Some extra stuff I'll show you. But there's got this guy over here who's just very calm and peaceful and thinking carefully about why he didn't buy those bags himself. Then we have our little tokens, our locked districts, our bodies. These looks like they're... Let me see if I can open this without cutting myself, because this is like tightly packed on. There we go. The question part is you want to be able to open this, but you don't want to do it in a way that damages the card, like I did. But it's just a divider. It's fine. It's fine. They're just dividers. We'll put these back in here. We have our body card in there. We have our class augments in here. Again, these are just some more dividers of different cards. Nothing crazy. We also have our, these I assume are to some extent for some token pools and whatnot. When we actually start punching things, that will go in there. We have another tray in here for this guy over here, which we can open these and see what we got. So we're gonna go to open and just dump these in here. These, we got those in there. We got these, sorry, open, continuously open these. I am curious why one of those bags came in a regular pre-manufactured bag and the others I'm cutting open. Now, these, I know it's not fun when I cut these open. You're like, why didn't you just use those? The harsh reality is I have so many small plastic baggies that these I just always get too many. They're always used to store components, and then they're not really that helpful. I do keep most plastic bags. In fact, I have a giant stack of plastic bags under this table as we speak, and I do use those a lot. These are nice tokens. I like these. Different shape, a little unique, so I do like them. Yes, I saw the one that just dropped. I'll put it back, and we'll put the cover back on, so we have that all nicely put away, and we'll put that away. We also have our little standee tokens over here. We have some nice dice over here, which these, do I keep these in the, I'm torn. I'm going to keep these plastic baggies in case for right now, because I may or may not want them. But over here, these are fun dice. Look at these. Look at these dice. They're fun. They're not like super premium or anything, but they're just fun dice. I like them. And then we have these dice over here, which also, and again, I don't remember how the dice combat worked in the game. I just remember you'd have these machine cards that you'd be tracking you, and if you didn't deal with them, they'd keep moving around with you, and so they'd have a consequence to them eventually. You have to like lose their trace effectively. So you can either fight a machine or lose its trace, which is, I guess, similar to a degree to Burn Cycle. If you played Burn Cycle from Chip Theory Games, it has that aspect where it's not always about combat, but combat is a tool at your disposal. Think of combat as one of many of your possible tools that you engage with as you try to figure out how to defeat the enemies. Now past that, the rest of what we have over here is just cards. Now cards can be cool, but cards can actually be spoilers in this one, and could not be cool. So we're going to go ahead and go through some cards, but maybe not a ton of cards. We'll see. We'll see what we do. Let's move the bags out of the way. And then we still have 2 boxes after this, right? 2 boxes? Why do I feel like there's 2 boxes and I don't see 1? Because I'm using the other one to prop the box up. That's why. Forgot about that already. It's funny, I was playing a game of Mil Fiori with somebody this past week, and they took the tokens, they took the extra tokens. So Mil Fiori, if you've played that one, there's a thing where you have 27 tokens and 3 that get set aside. And they put the 3 in their pockets, and I was like, you're going to forget them there. They're like, I'm not going to forget them there. 20 minutes after the game was packed up and put away, they came over and they're like, here are the tokens I forgot. I'm not judging. I said you'd forget them because I'd forget them. Over here we have our lock components, our class augments. These I'm not sure if they're cards themselves. They are cards. Okay, they are cards to a certain extent. Great. We're going to go ahead and continue opening more of these and see what else we have here. Mil Fiori is an okay game. I enjoy it. It's one of those games it actually reminds me very heavily of Caesar's Empire. It's fun, it's simple, it's easy to play, it's not amazing. It's kind of game that I'm like, I don't know if I need that, but then I keep playing it, so it works. Living City rewards over here. We have reward, keep this card, discover 2 health, discard this card. We have rewards, set a chosen asset to 5. These are things that makes more sense if you know how to play the game, which I vaguely know how to play the game, but I don't remember enough details. Starting co-op over here, class augment, defrauder. Once per planning phase, the chosen player may equip an augment by paying 1 less. If you choose another player, gain 1. So that could be fun. So a bunch of augments over here in different ways, different aspects. Again, the game basically has you trying to accomplish a goal. There's a clock effectively in the game where things are ticking down. You have to be mindful of time. So you have to do stuff with a clock on you as you go through it. And again, there's this co-op and then competitive scenarios, if I recall correctly, as well as solo. And you're just trying to work through it. And you're trying to visit locations and uncover what you need and make choices. There's a degree of narrative choice in the game that was very rewarding, as you'd have like a stack of like 15 cards, but if you chose option 1, you'd skip cards 3, 4, and 5 and go straight to 6, and so you wouldn't even know what happened unless you went back and engaged with those. So we have more lock components here. We have Seekers over here. Here we go. Here's a faction augment. So these give you kind of their own little pool of ways to utilize abilities or patterns you can have on your cards when you're playing with those tokens you pull from the pool and put them onto your player board. I like the art overall. Again, I don't know where they ended up with on changes. I will say I like the art, but I don't know what I'd have to go back and look to see what they did differently or what's changed in any way, shape, or form. I just don't remember. It's one of those things I can look back now and say, hey, I like what I'm seeing in front of me, but maybe I look back at the other stuff and it's different. I don't know. I don't remember. But it's been a while, and I'm excited to play this one. I'm excited to dive into it. Again, I do not think it's a long-term keeper, but I do think it's a finish all the scenarios and then move on kind of situation. Lots of cards, lots of abilities. Cloud Network, chosen player programs 2. If you choose another player, you may program 1. More of these patterns you can utilize over here with different tokens you draw from the pool. I need to read the rulebook on this and play it, along with a million different things. Then we have a whole bunch more cards. I don't know if I'm going to want to open this all, but I'll open some of it. I just don't want to go crazy with like, hey, let's just open a million card packs and just say not enough helpful information. This is the problem with like, again, when I unbox things, I'm going by what I know. Either if it's a game that I didn't ever play, I just know such an amount about it, or if it's a game I played 2.5 years, is that what it's been? I don't know. Whatever amount of time it's been, can, you know, slowly but surely take it out on you. That take it on you just mean you forget things. Resolve immediately when drawn. Choose one. Draw another enemy. Deal 5 damage to the top enemy. Discard this card. Gain 2 of 2 chosen assets. 4 in total. Discard this card. Draw another enemy. Gain 2. Discard this card. Draw another enemy. So we have these cards over here. These are various loot cards over here. We have some augments for cyber dogs. That could be fun. On additional tile with a cyber dog, when you reset the first player may discard a token from the cyber dog card. If they do not discard your body card. We have cyber dog rules. We have cyber cats. We have cyber cats. Look at this. I love it. Cyber cats. So we have cyber dogs and cats. I'm clearly a cat person. If that wasn't clear from that reaction, I'm like, yeah, we have cyber dogs. And then I'm like, cyber cats. I'm a cat person. I grew up with a cat. Her name was Penelope. She was very large. Well, she didn't start off that way. She started as a kitten behind her house as part of a pack of like, you know, this non-domesticated cat that lived in our backyard, had 5 kittens. We took them in to a degree and then let them go, and then a year later the cat showed up, had the same markings as the kitten. To this day we're not sure it's a kitten, we just know that it has. We have pictures, we know that it has the same body markings as the kitten, but it's all grown up, and then it just showed up at our house, and so I miss her. Not a ton, mind you, but I do miss her. She liked us. She would come over and sit down next to us. I miss cats. Cats are fun. Dogs, on the other hand, not as much my jam. Not against them, just not my jam. We have coders, we have master of puppets over here. These are various body cards you could have. We have more cyber cats. More quest cyber cats. I love this quest over here. I don't know what the deal is with the cats, but we have these. We have disruptors. These are going to be the various enemies you're fighting against. So yeah, some of the enemies you're fighting against. Yeah, more enemy cards. We have net searcher and shadow and all these different cards you have. And then these are going to be the events in the city. Guardian, effect, draw a Hellraiser card, level 3, and place it near the district trial with this event. So, a bunch of these. I don't think I'm going to bother going through all the cards right now. There's just too many cards. There's like all these various packs of cards over here. Like even these on top of everything else. It's just a lot of cards, and it's unnecessary to go through all of it. Which means I think we are probably done with the core box. For now. I mean, I'll have to dive into it and play it properly at some point. But for right now, I think that's enough of what's in Tamashii Chronicle of Ascend. Not counting the fact that I haven't punched the tokens, I haven't sorted it, I haven't dealt with any of that stuff, but I am going to go ahead and deal with that stuff later. And this is going to go on top of here, and this is going to go on top of there, like so. We'll try to spread this out a bit. Does that work? Yeah, it works-ish. And I'll put this on top here, which probably should have gone... I dropped that box that was behind that, forgetting that it was there. And this is something we'll have to add to the list of rules to go through so I can properly review it. It's interesting. Re-reviewing things is always an interesting conversation that I have on the channel about how to approach re-reviewing different things. Because effectively, when I review something that's a prototype, the question is, how do I want to approach it when it shows up? Because part of me wants to cover it again. Like, hey, this thing that I played is now here, I want to talk about it. But I don't like doing just a review again. So sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll try to find a different format. So, for example, in Tamashii, it's easy because I did a first impressions. First impressions to review, that I'm okay with. Or sometimes it's about, you know, expansion content. Like The Witcher Old World, I want to dive into the expansion of that one a lot. Like, it's on my list of things to do. Although travel and life make that hard. But it's on my list of things to do to dive into the expansion content for The Witcher Old World and see how it goes. That's going to be doing gameplays on the channel. You can expect to see those. But I like the game and I want to play it more. And so to that end, once I cover all the expansions, I can re-review it with that in mind. I can be like, hey, I reviewed it last time. Here's a full review of all the things. The problem with that approach is sometimes it takes forever. Sometimes I mean well, but then other games show up. Tamashii shows up, and I'm like, now I'm playing Tamashii instead of The Witcher. And then before you know it, ooh, this guy, I remember this one. Before you know it, I am suddenly behind on a million things and haven't actually covered the new stuff. It's like, I mean, it's a real problem. At the end of the day, you can't cover everything. Like, I'm one person over here doing the best I can to keep up. And I'm doing a decent enough job, but it's impossible to fully keep up. I don't know if I want to open these cards right now. But effectively, where did this go? That goes down here. Then we have these tokens here, which I guess I'll punch these. No, I don't want to punch things. I'm going to punch things. But I'm doing a decent enough job keeping up. But the goal is to... You also have to do enough things. Like I just played Revive. I mentioned I played Revive. That was great. Well, the problem is I need to play Revive multiple times. The good news is I'm happy to play Revive multiple times. But if I'm going to review it, I need to get multiple plays into my belt, especially for a complex Euro. Like my first impressions of Revive. Again, this is what I mean when I say unboxing and rambling. We're here unboxing Tamashii, and I'm talking about Revive. But my first impressions of Revive, and this is the Catie's Diary expansion over here. My first impressions of Revive are that I like it a lot as far as what it's doing, but I did feel that the game kind of ended before we could do a lot of things. And I don't know yet if that's like just us playing it wrong. I don't know at all. So I'm going to be diving into the rulebook again a second time just to make sure. Again, I loved it, but like, you know, the four corners in Revive. We played a 3-player game of Revive, and not a single person got any of their meeples onto the 4 scoring corners. We still scored the game. The game was a functional game, but not a single one of the players got their meeples there. So are we just playing it super inefficiently? Probably. Or are we playing with the rules wrong? Possibly. But it sometimes takes multiple plays to see those patterns, to see the way that works. Make no mistake, if after multiple plays and rereading the rulebook, I find that we're still experiencing that, that will be reflected in my content, obviously. Not necessarily as critical, I love Revive right now, but as just mindful, a mindfulness of, hey, this is the experience I had. A good example of that is a game called Catie. Catie is a game from Gigamic Games, I think. Tamashii Chronicle of Ascend, the Forbidden Chapter. Ooh, there's a scenario sheet in here. That's locked in here. It's a 1-pager, nothing crazy. Then we have our, you know, other little scenario sheets, these little pamphlets over here. But it's Catie. Catie, is that what it's called? Kitsune. We have a Kitsune boss, I assume. Is this a boss? I assume a boss activity, yes. So, Catie is a game that I played it, and I found that a disturbing amount of the times that I played it, it ended in a draw with no winner. Now, I have played it with having winners in play, but more often than not, when playing it, there was just no winner. So you just keep going, you go back and forth, you get to the end, people play all the tiles, and you're done. And that didn't seem to be an experience that other people have. Like, looking online, it didn't seem like that was the common experience by any means. But it was an experience that I had, despite reading the rulebook, despite playing it multiple times, and as an experience I had enough times, that I was like, you know what? I'm going to reflect the fact that, in my opinion, that I will note the fact that it doesn't seem like this is a common issue, but it was an issue for me. And I do want to talk about issues that I had, because I can't ignore it. I can't just be like, hey, by the way, you know, I can just assume this is not an issue. It was an issue for me, and it's my review. I'll just be mindful of it. I know this is also an issue with Dinosaur Island Roar and Ride had the same kind of issue, where the way I felt about how problematic disasters were and how much they got in the way of experiencing and enjoying the game just was very different than what other people seem to believe. But I played it multiple times and still have that issue, and we read the rulebook, and so whether it's my perceived issue or not, it was still an issue. It kind of strikes back to a different conversation. These are nice tiles over here, and we got our little standees, of course, for those who want the colorful standees over the miniatures. It kind of goes back to a different issue I've talked about in the past, where... train of thought. Oh yes, so the idea of the player's experience. So the players have an experience when they play a game, and the designers can point out how that experience is wrong. Designers can sit there and say, well, actually the math supports X, Y, and Z, and I can say, and will say, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the math supports. What matters is the experience players have. Not the exception, but the players in general. Meaning, a single player who plays your game and says, hey, by the way, this aspect is broken, that doesn't matter at all. It doesn't. But if you have 300 people play your game, and 150 of them think that a certain faction is broken, and you show them mathematically, you show them how it's not broken, it doesn't matter. If half the people playing the game say that your game feels like the other faction is overbalanced, then the player's experience is still valid. Not the exception, but if a decent amount of people have an experience, that experience is valid. You have to acknowledge the experience that's happening, not just the fact that the experience shouldn't be happening, if that makes sense. So perception it matters in things. Even if the math can support it, you might be like, hey, well, actually, you should be playing it like this and doing that, and these things work out like that. It doesn't matter. Whatever you did in your game design resulted in enough people having that opinion. This goes back to life in general. It doesn't matter how right you are in life. It doesn't matter. Even now, the irony is, even this video, even this point I'm making, if I make this point, and 1,000 people watch this video, and 800 think that makes no sense, well, then that has to be reflected. The perceived opinion that people have, being right isn't enough. You have to acknowledge the shared reality we're all present in, and the fact that if other people don't have an opinion that you have, you should question that opinion. You should question it. You should be like, why do other people not see the world the same way I do? What is it about it? It's... how deep a rabbit hole do we want to go down? I apologize. Awakened Realms, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get into it heavily. But something that I've brought up in the past. You know what? I don't know why I do this. I'm sorry. I don't know. This is just where the conversation went, and I don't like holding back once the conversation goes somewhere. I'm going to show you the miniatures, and then I'll go to the point that I should not be making. Anyways. So, here we go. Some miniatures over here. We got these and this one over here. And these are nice, by the way. These are... again, very cool, very solid miniatures. Really like the sculpting. Very, very cool stuff. We also have some more of these, though. This not even... honestly, I may have showed you the two best ones. I may have. They're all good. but I may have shown you the two best ones. Look at these guys. Look at them. Like, these are excellent, excellent sculpts. I know I said that I don't need sun drop, and I don't. This game's not sticking around forever, but I assume. But it is. This game definitely. I wouldn't mind sun drop on these. Anyways, these over here. Look at this. Look at them. Look at that little. Look at the little putty cat. Sort of. I guess. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, there's a tail involved. That's not a question. And this guy who looks a little creepy, but almost looks like they're going for that Dark Souls vibe. I think it's Dark Souls. No, not Dark Souls. What's that? Haunting on House Hill situation? Something like that. Yeah. Anyways, so let's go down that rabbit hole that I should not be going down in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to keep it very neutral, or as neutral as possible. Something that is lost in general is the nature of large numbers and differing opinions. When Trump, sorry for even saying the name, when Trump won the election the first time round, and I'll preface this because like I don't like how, in my opinion, this is my opinion right now, okay? In my opinion, sometimes having a nuanced take on things can result in people saying, well, really your take is X, Y, and you're just trying to hide it behind a nuanced take. I don't like Trump. I understand why people voted for him. I understand why people supported him. There was a time when I was more on the side of supporting him. That was way back in the beginning. The more time went on, the more I saw things I didn't like, and I don't like him. So I do not have a lack of understanding for people who support Trump, not in the slightest, but I personally don't like him at all. That's personally where we are. So just so we're clear on this, just so we're transparent on opinions. But one thing that is lost sometimes is the nature of half the country voted for Trump, and half the country did not vote for Trump. That means people on both sides sometimes forget that such a large number of people are so clearly divided on what makes so much perfect sense to you. It's something that's forgotten at times. That if one side of the country sees something a certain way and it's so blatantly clear, and you can pick any sensitive topic, whether it's Trump, whether it's abortion, whether it's whatever. I'm so sorry, Rick and Moms, I really apologize. You can pick any sensitive topic you want in life, and you have to question, why do so many people have such an opposite counter opinion that I do? Is half the country just dumb all the time? Is half the world just dumb all the time? Or is life a little bit more complicated than we give it credit for? Are there perhaps nuanced takes? Is it possible that when I see something a certain way, can I at least acknowledge and understand why someone else sees it a different way? I think that's the key thing. I think acknowledging and understanding, I don't know how we got here, but somehow we did. Acknowledging and understanding differing viewpoints, I think, is a good thing. Not necessarily agreeing with them. That's a very different conversation, but taking the time to acknowledge and understand that there is a viewpoint in life that is very different than your own, but enough people hold it that you shouldn't just write it off as crazy. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're not doing them any favors. You're not doing anyone any favors when you write off. And this goes both political directions. This is not a excuse for one side to go the other. This is 100% across the board. If you can't understand why a large number of people have an opinion, then you haven't given that opinion enough mental credence, and you're not engaging with it. You're dismissing it, you're not engaging with it. And that might be okay. It's complicated because if a large enough number of people start insisting that the earth is flat, I mean, should you really engage with them? The problem with that question is it's hypothetical in nature. It's not an actual question. Because the reality is, the actual reality is, if 3.5 billion people on the planet tomorrow decide that the Earth is flat, the actual reality is you should be having conversations with them to find out why. It's that classic joke, the classic thing of, if all your friends jumped off a bridge, would you jump off too? The answer is probably yes. Because if all your friends suddenly jump off a bridge, then you have to ask yourself, either all my friends suddenly went completely crazy, or they see something I don't. Maybe the bridge is on fire. Maybe things are burning down. Maybe there's pots of gold in the water. I don't know. But if all your friends jump off a bridge, it is likely that there's a decent enough reason for you to at least consider jumping off of a bridge. Life is not black and white. It rarely ever is. It's nuanced, it's complicated, it's messy. And we don't listen to each other enough. We don't listen to each other enough. That's not a pass for bad behavior. Make no mistake, that's not a pass for bad behavior at all. The harsh reality is that sometimes a large enough number of people believing something still might be doing something wrong. I'm not taking away from the impact of actions. I'm trying to engage with the mental thought process of how people can end up in such different directions when approaching an issue. And the large number of people doing so. It's not a pass for the other side. The other side, again, is not clear in this one. Whichever side you're on, it's not a pass for the other side. but it is just the recognition that we should have conversations with each other where we genuinely seek to listen. I'm going to get cancelled one day. I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video. Apologies to both Awakened Realms and OneSharpJoe for including a large political little segment at the end of this video. Hopefully not enough of you made it here and we're all good. Until next time, I hope you have a good one.